What's up, guys? Back at it. Day 52 of the 100 Days of LeetCode. We got another SQL problem, and here we've got department highest salary. So we've got an employee table, and in that employee table, we've got the ID of the employee, the name of the employee, the salary of the employee, and the ID of the department that the employee works in. So it says right here, department ID is the foreign key of the ID from the department table, and here's the department table. It's got an ID, it's got a name. Pretty straightforward. We want to write a query to find employees who have the highest salary in each of the departments. We want to return it in any order, that doesn't matter. And here's an example of the query result. Okay, so we've got this employee table, department table, and the output has two people from the ID department because they both have the maximum salary. Their salaries are equal, so we want to include them both in our result. And of course, it's got Henry from sales, who makes more money than poor old Sam over here. Okay, so that's how we want to return our result. So let's get right to it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to select we're going to select D dot name, right? Because we need to have these three column names. So the first thing we're going to do is select the name of the department here as department, E dot name as employee, and then that's E dot salary as salary. From, of course, department D employee E. Okay. We don't have to do this, but let's just do that. Just keep it clean. And now what we want to do is we're going to have two where statements. So the first one is we want to make sure, of course, that the IDs of the department IDs in the employee table equals the ID in the department table. And then we want to make sure that the salary is the max. So we want to do a where clause with E dot department ID equals D dot ID and E dot salary equals another query, a nested query, select max salary from employee where department ID equals E dot department ID. Okay, that should be right. There you go. So that's correct. So what we're doing here is first we're selecting the three columns and also the values in the columns from department and employee. And then we're making sure that the department ID of the employee that we're selecting is equal to the ID of the department, right? So we're not going to have situations where the IDs aren't matching, because that's not what we want to. That's not what we want. We only want employees that work in the particular department, and we want to check the salary of the employee up here. We want to make sure that this salary is equal to the max salary from employee, where the department ID of this employee is equal to the department ID of that employee. Okay. So what this basically does is it returns the max salary of any department. Okay. And then this basically, the rest of it basically puts everything else in a table for us. Okay. So that's how we solve that one. If you guys like that one, appreciate you liking and subscribing. And we'll be back tomorrow for day 53. See ya.